Hello and welcome to our daily news program coming to you from Canal Algérie. To the headlines. A monitoring multi-sectorial mechanism to control markets among the top issues reviewed by the Council of Ministers chaired by the President of the Republic. The President of the Republic receives the Qatari Assistant Foreign Minister for Regional Affairs, Special Envoy of the Emir of Qatar. The Army General Said Shingari, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, receives the Chief of Staff of the Qatari Armed Forces. And a relaxation stopover in Tamarraset with the Hoggar by context amid a gorgeous landscape. Good evening, those were today's major headlines. We kick off our news with the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, Abdelmajid Tebboune, who presided over a meeting of the Council of Ministers. Let's follow up the details about this meeting with Rania Al-Bahri.
After the opening ceremony, chaired by the President of the Republic, marked by the presentation of the cabinet activities over the past 2 weeks by Prime Minister, the President of the Republic gave the following guidelines and instructions. He ordered that the demolition of the illegal inhabited buildings will be carried out according to a plan carefully prepared by governors, which will be submitted to the Interior Minister for the final decision after reviewing all administrative and legal regulation means. Demolition operations must not take place during the winter season. Regarding the measures taken to ensure the staples during the month of Ramadan, the creation of specific monitoring mechanisms during this week in coordination with the Ministries of Interior, Agriculture and Trade to undertake the control and daily monitoring of the market supply concerning various basic products. The President of the Republic stressed that the reduction of the import bill should not be done to the detriment of the citizens' needs, but by taking into account the availability of national production in quantity as in quality. The intensification of warning and control systems starting from villages with the involvement of local authorities with the aim of controlling consumer products prices and supplying markets. Concerning the draft bill relating to the film industry, the President of the Republic ordered the postponement of the bill in order to enrich it by taking into account the following guidelines. The holding of meetings on cinema with the participation of actors and professionals based here or abroad. The President insisted that the new status of the artist must include the necessary mechanisms and take charge the aspects of all Algerian artistic creators. He also insisted that this law should be a real driving force for film's production according to a creative vision which restores Algeria to its former glory. Regarding the development of large structured industrial projects for the energy and mining sector, the President of the Republic has rejected all long-term fixed deadlines for the completion of the railway lines linking Annaba to Blad al-Hadba and Bashar to Garaj Bilad via Tindouf, ordering the immediate reduction of deadlines. He ordered the achievement of these lines according to international standards and as soon as possible, in partnership with international companies, which will make it possible to reinforce and double the production capacities, taking into account the economic scope of the two projects. The development and operation must be done at the same time in order to complete the operation of Garaj Bilad as soon as possible. Open the way for startups to participate in various mining projects.
In another activity, the President of the Republic carried out a partial reshuffle at the level of governors. He terminated the duties of Bouziane Daraji as the Governor of Naama, Elounas Bouzgza, the Governor of Souqahras, and appointed him as the new Governor of Naama. Zinay Abdelkarim was appointed as new Governor of Souqahras, and the appointment of Fethi Bouzayed as Delegate Governor in Bablouat in the capital Algiers, and also the appointment of Mohamed Lamin bin Shawliya as Delegate Governor in Barraqi, Algiers. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received on Monday the Qatari Assistant Foreign Minister for Regional Affairs, Dr. Mohammed bin Abdulaziz Al Khalifi, Special Envoy and carrier of a message of the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. The audience took place in the presence of the Principal Private Secretary of the Presidency, Abdulaziz Khalaf. In other news, the Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Saeed Shingareha, received on Monday the Lieutenant General Salem bin Hamad bin Aqil Al Nabit, Chief of Staff of the Qatari Armed Forces, now on a working visit to Algeria at the head of an important military delegation. Melissa Kubash reports.
يا مرحبا شرفتم وانستم اهلا وسهلا.
The welcoming ceremony began with a salute of the national flag, followed by the military salute to the host, presented by a military detachment representing the different forces of the National People's Army. The meeting took place in the presence of General Secretary of the National Defense Ministry, commanders of forces, the heads of department and central directors of the General Staff of the National People's Army and the National Defense Ministry, alongside members of the Qatari delegation. The two parties reviewed the security challenges facing the Arab region and the African continent, exchanged views on issues of common interests, and examined ways and means to strengthen military cooperation between the two brotherly countries. On this occasion, the Army General delivered a keynote speech in which he welcomed the delegation and congratulated the Qataris for the perfect organization of the 2022 Football World Cup, which roused worldwide admiration and presented an honorary image of the brotherly state of Qatar.
بهذه المناسبة السعيدة أن أتقدم لكم ولأشقائنا في دولة قطر بأحر التهاني وأصداقها على التنظيم المتميز لكأس العالم لكرة القدم لسنة 2022.
Recalling the excellent fraternal relations between Algeria and Qatar, which encourage our armies to move forward towards the concretization of military cooperation, reflecting the exceptional and promising approximation between the two countries.
مع هذا التقارب المتميز والواعد بين الشعبين الشقيقين.
The Army General then indicated that this meeting constitutes an opportunity to review the sectors of bilateral military cooperation, which continues to strengthen thanks to the common will of the countries as leaders, namely President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, and his brother His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Emir of the State of Qatar, and their common desire to further promote it.
فضل الرعاية السامية والمتواصلة لقائدي البلدين السيد عبدالمجيد تبون رئيس الجمهورية القائد الأعلى للقوات المسلحة وزير الدفاع الوطني وأخيه صاحب السمو الشيخ تميم بن حامد الثاني أمير دولة قطر.
Adding that this meeting reflects the desire to exchange visits between our two armies, as expressed during this fruitful visit he carried to Qatar in March 2022 to take part in the 7th edition of the International Naval Defense Exhibition and Conference, DIMDEX 2022, where they were able to indicate their wish to open up promising horizons for our military cooperation.
بحضور فعالية معرض ومؤتمر الدوحة الدولي للدفاع البحري ديمدكس 2022 في طبعته السابعة، حيث لمسنا كل مظاهر الود ومشاعر الأخوة وعلامات الحرص على فتح آفاق واعدة أمام تعاوننا العسكري.
For his part, the Lieutenant General Chief of Staff of the Qatari Armed Forces expressed his joy for his visit to Algeria and praised the solidarity of the fraternal relations binding the two countries, reflected by the level of the military cooperation between the two armies in different fields. At the end of the visit, the two parties exchanged symbolic gifts before the Lieutenant General Salem bin Hamad bin Aqil Al Nabit signed the Golden Register of the General Staff of the National People's Army.
And in the energy sector, Sonatrach Group has never slowed down its investment, but only diversified them to increase the oil and gas production while preserving the environment. Najah Dayar reports.
Established on a very small region in Ain Amenas back in the 70s, the Sonatrach Group is growing larger and accomplishing different successful missions. At the beginning, the production was limited, where the group produced only crude oil, until gas production started in 2003. The exploitation of the gas started in 2003 in a collaboration with the Australian company BHP Billiton. And then the construction of the central processing facility and the connection of more than 40 gas wells of the 3 gas production regions. For the Sonatrach Group, the environment preservation is not neglected. The flared gas recovery project has proved its significance and tangible results. We have other 5 discs like this one to recover all the flared gas in our 5 gas production units. Currently, the flared gas is estimated at 750,000 cubic meters a day. All the flared gas is recovered and treated at the level of the central processing facility, which allows Algeria to reach the zero flaring routine by 2030 and also to reduce the flaring tax. The Zero Flaring Initiative fits perfectly with the Hydrocarbons National Company's commitment in permanent quest of a sustainable and responsible development.
In the parliamentary activity, the President of the Council of the Nation, Salah Goujil, received on Monday the President of the Kenyan Parliament, Moses Wetangula. The two parties reviewed the bilateral relations as well as the means to consolidate them in line with the guidelines of the two heads of state. Regional and international issues of common interest were also tackled, while reiterating the full support to the fair causes and the people's rights to self-determination. The President of the Kenyan Parliament was equally received by the President of the National People's Assembly, Brahim Boughali. The two parties discussed on the occasion the ways and means to strengthen the relations between the two parties, namely in cooperation. A convergence of views was also recorded regarding the fair causes. In the Algerian-Jordanian cooperation, the Minister of Industry, Ahmed Zaghdar, and the Jordanian Minister of Trade, Minister of Employment, Youssef Shamali, co-chaired the proceedings of the ministerial meeting of the two countries. The meeting was also an opportunity to assess cooperation between the two countries and to launch new win-win investment projects. To Morocco now, where sit-ins were organized on Sunday pursuant to calls from the different trade unions in quest of denouncing the precarious situation suffered by the population. Scheduled for several days in Rabat and Casablanca, the protesters are surrounded by the authorities and chanted slogans against the backdrop in the purchasing power and the ever-growing repression against freedoms. Back to our local news. Cycling and nature lovers have embarked on a 5-day journey to participate in the first edition of the Hogar Bike event in the province of Tamarasset, where they will be crossing 200 kilometers to discover the region and enjoy the beautiful landscapes. Report by Walid Yousfi, taken up by Melissa Kubash.
Nearly 50 bikers all gathered in the province of Tamarasset. Both professionals and amateurs took part at the first Hogar Bike and crossed 220 kilometers by mountain bikes. The journey will take 5 days. The participants will cross the Sahara through several steps, a first for many that apprehend the difficulty of this sporting event.
The circuit is very difficult, but it's an adventure for us. It's the first time that I visit Tamarasset, therefore it's an opportunity for me to discover the region.
The Hogar Bike isn't a race, which is why despite the sand trail, the bikers are discovering the region and the beauty of the Algerian Sahara.
On est vraiment content de faire le Hogar Bike. J'arrive de l'étranger.
I am a foreigner and I am very happy to participate in the Hogar Bike. As you can see, it's a beautiful place to visit, which is why I call on everyone to participate in this event in 2024.
J'ai qu'une chose à dire, venez nous voir en 2024, venez faire le parcours.
This first edition was full with emotions. The participants took this opportunity to enjoy the beauty of the Sahara and keep memories of this event. As for the next edition of Hogar Bike, it's scheduled for next October, with the participation of 100 bikers from different nationalities who will cross Janet and Elizi for 6 days.
Still in southern Algeria, the Tassili Niger is one of the attracting destinations for tourists, notably after the visa issuance facilitations that encourage the desert lovers to discover this open-air museum. More insights with Najah Dayar.
At the heart of the Algerian Sahara, where we find the sculpted landscapes with colored sand rocks, peaks with astonishing shapes, secret routes in the middle of the large cliffs, and dunes with perfect curves. Welcome to Tassili Niger, one of the most popular destinations for foreign tourists wishing to live a new adventure.
We drove directly to Genoa to catch the car ferry. And now we are here, and it's a great experience, and I look forward to see more of Algeria and of the desert.
It is a very beautiful place with magnificent landscapes. We had all the facilitations to come here. I would like to thank everyone who contributed to this. On an exceptional basis, additional facilitation measures have been introduced, allowing the visa issuance upon arrival to the national territory, more specifically to one of the 24 southern provinces of the country, for the benefit of the foreign tourists. I thank the authorities for the facilitations granted to the foreign tourists concerning the visa, and I particularly thank Elizi province authorities for their efforts and facilitations at the border. With these facilitation measures, Janet remains a privileged destination, especially during tourism season. Its natural setting immerses visitors in quest of relaxation into a unique and magical world.
And with our beautiful Sahara, we come to the end of our today's news. Thank you for tuning in, and goodbye.